John Tower is waiting for the word on whether he'll get into the Bush cabinet, but maybe he should get his resume together just in case. That's next. And also, Principal Joe Clark is catching the heat for this hot performance at his high school. Was this during recess? Joe Clark may be the best-known principal in America. He's been on the cover of Time magazine, received calls from the White House, and now he's being portrayed in the movie Lean on Me. Joe's not the quiet type, and now he's pretty vocal about his latest run-in with local officials.
I'm a law and order person. I guess people say I'm relatively conservative.
Joe Clark uses anything but conservative methods to run Eastside High School in New Jersey. His controversial bullhorn-toting style has been the target of more than one bad review.
Joe Clark is certainly not Mother Teresa. And some situations require a Dirty Harry. Okay, I'm Dirty Harry.
But Joe Clark's most recent critics say the atmosphere got a little too dirty during a school assembly last month. This professional singing group was brought to Eastside High School to celebrate the opening of Lean on Me, Hollywood's version of Joe Clark's career. But the curtain came down rather quickly once school officials realized they were getting a stripped-down version of what they'd expected.
On that particular day, and I was not here, maybe, and I state to you, maybe there might have been a smidgen of inappropriateness in one of the acts that were being put on.
But the Patterson City Council was not as mild in their response to the variety show, and they're demanding that Joe Clark be fired. True to his style, Joe Clark is fighting back.
And I want to state this for the records about those no-good pusillanimous dastards on that city council. They're an insult to the political process, for they know indeed that that act was not indicative of the type of furor that's surrounding this particular situation. What they did was ambush me. They attempted to ambush me. And I want them to understand, beginning with the black ones on there who ambushed me and betrayed me on Black History Month, and the other individuals, that first of all, I have done nothing wrong, and this is just an invidious and insidious attempt to try and imbrue me, stain me, besmirch me, and they know they can't, and they also know they can't fire me, so they should just stop flapping their Vaseline lips and shut up.
Whoa. The next move is up to the school board in Patterson.
What they're talking about is the show Eric Floyd and his fiancée, Wanda Dee, brought to Patterson's Eastside High last month. At Principal Joe Clark's invitation and at mostly Floyd's expense. The show was, well, revealing. The vice principal stopped the show at that point. Principal Joe Clark was in L.A. at the time, taping an appearance with Arsenio Hall. The performance at the school triggered at least 500 calls of protest to the office of the mayor.
If I had known it was taking place, I would have directed the Patterson Police Department to go into that school and give citations to those that were producing that show.
But the people involved in the show say that the criticism is unwarranted.
The same act they saw on stage is exactly what Wanda Dee's video is going to be in about 2 weeks on MTV, VH1, BET, and all the other video networks.
They weren't children like 3 years old, 4 years old, and everyone is treating them in that respect, and they're not.
So you weren't teaching them anything, huh?
No, these kids know more than I know.
Well, you be the judge. The school superintendent has indicated that whomever is responsible for bringing the show here to Eastside High will have to answer for it. Principal Joe Clark has acknowledged arranging for the performance. In Patterson, Robert Miller, Channel 9 News.
Well, Principal Joe Clark told us he did not see the dance program. You know why, he was out of town, but he says that it was an annual show and there is nothing new or different about it. Clark says anyone familiar with African dance knows that dancers are scantily clad.
We are back. exactly.
No gun disease here.
No,
not there.
However, there is a grin on my face that won't go away, and the reason for that, and look at the people in this audience. Look at the anticipation on their faces because they know what's coming up. We're about to talk about this broiling, as you liked it, rhubarb over at Eastside High.
Yes.
What do you think about what went on there?
I think it was a little much for high school. I couldn't have emotionally handled it in high school.
Now, you saw the videotape, about 15 seconds of videotape,
yes,
right?
Yeah, I went, oh my gosh, my kids are going to that school.
Maybe you didn't see enough to make up your mind.
Maybe not.
Well, maybe you need to see it up close and personal.
You're absolutely right.
What went on at Eastside High? We had some dancers ripping off some clothes, partial nudity. What's going on with Joe Clark, the hero principal? That is the subject when we come back on People Are Talking.
That's right, and he's got rip-away pants on. Don't go away.
All right, welcome back to People Are Talking. I'm Matt Lauer, sitting in for Richard Bay. Chances are, no matter where you live, you have heard of Joe Clark, New Jersey's own high school principal, who used a baseball bat and a bullhorn to coax his students to make the grade and to reclaim Eastside High School from pushers and prostitutes. Now, his success landed him right on the cover of a national magazine. You know which one? Time magazine. There he is with the baseball bat. He also turned some heads in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, the movie that opened last week across the country, Lean on Me, is actually the Joe Clark story. Now, you would think, with all of this going on, that Joe Clark's life is rosy, right? Maybe not. Last week, he hit a snag. You see, he set up an assembly at the high school complete with entertainment, and some of that entertainment was deemed to be a little risque for high school students. You're looking at a piece of the act right now. Pretty young lady dancing around, and watch this. Boom! There she goes. An impromptu anatomy lesson for the students at the high school. What do you think about that? Is that too risque for high school students? What do you think? Yes. Well, who says no? Okay, now we know what the people in our audience think. We would like to know what you people at home think. We have set up a People Are Talking people poll. The question is a show with partial nudity appropriate to present to high school students? Here's what we want you to do. Pick up your phone. In the next 10 minutes or so, call 1-201-480-VOTE. If you think it is inappropriate, push Y for yes. If you think it is not inappropriate, just push N for no. Again, Y for yes, it's inappropriate. N for no, it is not inappropriate. Now, to help you with your voting and to help Renee make up her mind, we've decided that 15 seconds of videotape may not be enough. So are you ready, folks? Yes. You are. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on television, direct from Eastside High, please welcome Eric Floyd's All-Star Cavalcade.
Wanda Dee, the goddess is here, so stare. Don't you dare touch the rear, you hear? It's my tail, it's not for sale. You touch it, baby, you go to jail. Fail, you fail to produce because you got seduced, ha-ha, by these sensational, sexy curves. Word, I rock your nerves, or haven't you heard? I'm coming through your speakers knowing just my voice gets your adrenaline flowing. Unmistakable, capable, and durable. Just like a disease, I'm incurable. Like the teeth of a shark, I'm sharp as this art. So don't get smart. I'm sensuous, sizzling, seething, alluring, adoring. Ooh, all you guys on the floor and tall, short, fat, even the off ones need it, greeted, treated like a loved one. You're down and out in doubt, don't be modest. Don't fear, I'm here, come to the goddess. Oh, that's it. Just like this. Don't stop, please don't stop. That's it. This beat's jumping. jumping. I'm not slumping. Open your ears and let me tell you something. It gets total respect like thunder. That's what you get from Wanda. I rage on the stage with stamina. You can hear the cheers from here to Canada Dry. This soda, I love it. I place this other drink above it, keeping you warm from the storm while turning you on. Ooh, this body's in form. A boat that floats in the Atlantic. Panic, damn it, on a Titanic. Like a captain, you were down with your ship. You lost grip, you slip, you trip, busted your lip. So don't mess with these dollars I possess. Screw Mother Nature. Don't fool with the goddess.
Before you all tape recorded.
Oh, that's it.
Hope you all enjoy it.
Above the rest I stand, scepter in hand.
All right, let's hear it for Eric Floyd's All-Star Cavalcade. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, well, we'll leave it up to you. Kind of adds new meaning to social studies, doesn't it? Here's the question for you folks at home. Don't forget about our People's Poll. We want you to call 1-201-480-VOTE. Is a show with partial nudity appropriate to present to high school students? Y for yes, N for no. We want to hear from you right now and through the next 10 minutes. Later on in the show, we'll give you the results of your responses to this People's Poll. What do you folks think? Huh? What's it? You liked it? He says it's okay, but a time and place for everything. We're going to take a break. When we come back, a councilwoman from Patterson who says, no way for the kids at the high school, and Eric Floyd, who brought the show to the school. They'll debate right after this on People Are Talking. All right, welcome back to People Are Talking. I'm Matt Lauer. Once again, the number for the People Poll is 1-201-480-VOTE, and you can do that throughout the next couple of segments. We'll give you the results later on. Right now, let's talk to some of the key players in this controversy. First of all, Eric Floyd is the man who brought this show to Eastside High. He is responsible for the performance you just saw. Welcome him. I'm sure you recognize the young lady sitting next to Eric. This is Wanda Dee. She is the principal dancer in the show. Welcome her. And now someone I have to describe as an unhappy lady, Vera Ames. She opposes the performance at the high school. She is a councilwoman from Patterson. Welcome, Vera. You know what I think I'm going to do? Let's let Vera go first, okay? Vera, get it off your chest. What's the matter with what we just saw and what the students saw last week at the high school?
Well, I understand it was described as art. It may be art in its place, but its place is not in the local school with young people. I would definitely have to put this show in the rating as a nightclub act for Atlantic City, any other local nightclub, but not when the taxpayers are paying for education, and this is happening during the daytime hours when school is in session. I was in California, and when I returned home, all these calls were in, and I said, well, what happened? I was only gone for 3 days. And everybody says, you didn't see the paper? How dare you go away and this happened? I wasn't even aware that this was coming, you know? And next thing I know, one of my constituencies says, you look at this, your school budget and this lady. I never met the young lady. You know, and we have to vote on the school budget. Now, do you seriously think that our constituency is going to pass our school budget with Wanda next to it, and these three gentlemen standing there with their derriere showing, and the young people there with the hooping and hollering?
I'll tell you one thing. From Wanda's point of view, she made the front page, didn't she? Look at her. All right, Eric and Wanda, art. She says it's been described as art. Was that art?
Yes, it's art. First of all, I just want to set the record straight that the show was just, the auditorium was filled with upperclassmen, seniors and juniors. Right.
So you're talking like 17 and 18-year-olds.
Right, correct. Second of all, I brought in 20 different entertainers. This was the only one that was somewhat racy. The rest of them were well-known motion picture, recording, and television stars. This is called Eric Floyd's third annual All-Star Cavalcade Express. I did 2 others before this. They always talk about young people never give back. I'm 22 years old. Wanda's my fiance. This business has been good to us. We've made a lot of money in it. Each year, we gather up some of our performing friends. We go to a different high school, one that is troubled with different kinds of negative publicity.
Let me interrupt for a second, because I don't think the question here is about your intentions and about what you've done for the community. The question here is, when you've got 17 and 18-year-old high school students in an assembly, should they see the cheeks of guys shaking in front of them? And that's what Vera doesn't like.
I'm going to let Wanda respond. I just would like to say, I think, first of all, it's the same act that they're going to see on MTV, VH1, and BET in a matter of 3 weeks. It's the same exact act. The same exact act. And I only apologize to the parents who literally sit in front of the television sets and monitor what their students and their children watch.
We have parents in Washington, D.C. fighting for censorship of what young people look at. The communities across the country are reaching out for moral values to be brought back into the home. How can you bring moral values into the home when you have this going on in the high school? You cannot deal with it like that.
All right, hey, Wanda, what you do on stage, okay? What you did on stage, would it be fair to call that titillation?
No, I don't. It's not that at all. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm going up on stage and I'm sharing this talent that God has blessed me with beautiful young children that make them smile and just enjoy themselves. I like to see people happy, and I go up there and do what I love to do to make people happy. And first of all, these 17 and 18-year-old, as they're saying, children, which they are not, they're young adults, and they have minds of their own. These young adults go to see movies that are rated X, rated R. They go to beaches and they dress the way, I mean, scantily and clad in their swimsuits.
We're not teaching them anything.
And we're not teaching them anything. These children know, excuse me, these young adults know more than I do. And first and second of all, I want to set the record straight. I'm a little upset that all of the negative press that's coming out, they're connecting me to the movie Eastside Story. My whole act doesn't have anything to do with the movie Eastside Story. I'm a separate entity. I belong to Tough City Records, and my record will be out in a week. And this is what I do, and everyone's going to see it.
Excuse me, Wanda. They may know a lot, but we do not have to add on to their knowledge. I am sorry. We do not have to add on to it. Hold it.
Hey, let me set the record straight on one thing here, too. We should mention that during the assembly, the kids went wild. They loved this stuff. Now, somebody at the school stopped the performance kind of before the end, and the kids were really upset, weren't they?
If the tape had been allowed to continue, you would have seen the kids on top of their chairs yelling, "Hell no, we won't go." Mr. Julian Jenkins, who was in charge of the school because Mr. Clark was 3,000 miles away taping their Arsenio Hall show, though he promised me he'd be there, Mr. Jenkins stopped the show, and that's what started the scandal. The kids kept yelling, "We want Wanda, which is on the tape.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you were in that auditorium. What was it like?
Well, everybody liked it. As for me, I did too. I mean, it's like she said, we are young adults, and we do see more things than that. I mean, come on, we're not kids. These are the 80s, and that's nothing. They weren't doing anything bad, but showing what they have to do, you know, that's their thing.
Okay, yes.
I don't mean to put two things separate, okay? But you said that they're trying to put a stop to this, all right? The stop should have been put, okay, when the movie came out. If you didn't mind...
Wait a second.
Okay, wait a minute.
Wanda's already said she's not a part of that movie.
No, I know, not her. I'm talking to the lady. If you didn't mind them making the movie there, okay, during school hours, quote unquote, or whatever, okay? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to jump on you. But if you didn't mind that, so why criticize this? Kids like this as well as the movie.
But like I said, I did not support Warner Brothers coming in here and making a movie in my city. I'm the only one who voted against it because I did not feel as though they should have dealt it there in the first place. You know, they set up sets every place else. They should have did that. But see, you have to look at this from a moralistic view. I don't care what the young people like. That's the reason that we're in the problem that we have now with drugs, teenage pregnancy, and everything else that revolves around young people. Because nobody said nothing when it was going on.
I'm sorry.
Everybody turned their head. Everybody turned their head.
Please do not connect this act to drugs and teenage pregnancy. No one went out and shot up or got someone pregnant and laid someone
just a few moments ago.
This act was on stage.
Am I correct? Was she moaning and groaning a few months ago in sexual nude? Now, do not tell me you cannot connect it with sex. Her act is an act that should be in...
Truce, 1 second. We got a phone call. Good morning, you're on People Are Talking.
Yes, I think that 18 and 17-year-old children are still children. They're not young adults. They don't know things. I think when you go to school to learn, you go to school to learn, not to learn about that disgusting thing that they're doing in school.
Thank you for your call.
If you want to learn something, you go in a nightclub or out in the street learning. You don't go into school learning. I think it's disgusting, and I think they should be shot.
All right, listen, you know what I would like to do? I have about a minute left there.
That was my mother calling me. Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate it.
Eric,
Thank you. I knew she'd do that.
I have about a minute left. First of all, we should say that Joe Clark did approve this.
Yes.
Okay, he did know about this.
Yes.
Vera, he's in charge of this school. Very popular man in Patterson. What do you think should happen to Joe Clark?
I do not agree with this. This is the poster that Joe Clark saw and he approved of. This poster, he showed this young lady here. Now, I do not see the naked men jiggling their booties on this poster. So I do not see that on this poster. First of all, this is what was in town. Nobody in town saw the dancers until they were on the front page of this paper.
Might I add in closing, again, that these are bodybuilders in posing trunks who pose for a living. It is a sport. They do not do any sexual gyrations on stage. I think what is smut is championship wrestling, 200, 300-pound men in their drawers jumping on top of each other. That's smut.
Ring the bell. It's over, folks.
And they watch
It's
that all
over.
the time.
All right, listen.
The gorgeous ladies of wrestling. They watch that after Soul Train on Saturdays. Jesus Christ, nobody went out and did anything behind this show. It's a showcase of inspiration, motivation, education.
Let me go to a break, all right? Let me get a break in here. Get the idea you wouldn't want to oppose Vera in city council, huh? All right, we're going to go to a break. First, we're going to go to the newsroom, though, and Van Hackett. All right, welcome back to People Are Talking. If you think things were cooking at Eastside High last week, they're cooking here on this show today. I cut you off because I had to go to a break, Vera. What did you say should happen to Joe Clark, the principal?
As Joe Clark viewed this poster that he was told was going to happen, I don't feel as though the responsibility lies as much with Joe Clark as it does with Eric, because Eric did not tell him what the big surprise was. So therefore, he was not aware of the dancers doing the gyration.
So what do you think for Eric? The death penalty or something? What?
Eric has to straighten that out with the city of Patterson and the Board of Education.
That's not true.
Because
when we went to this pre-screening of Lean on Me, Joe Clark's limousine was late getting him, and he had to go to court. We rode him in the backseat of our limousine, and I told him about Wanda's dancers. If the video had continued, you would have seen they did African dance moves. Whenever African dancers dance, they are scantily clad. It's part of ethnic art.
And there are gyrations.
Not gyrations, it's African dance movements. Joe knew about it. He said this is 1989, not 1929.
All right, now you said that Eric has got to settle this with the city of Patterson, right? I'll tell you one guy in the city of Patterson he can settle it with right now. We've got the mayor, Frank Graves, on the phone. Mr. Mayor, welcome to People Are Talking.
Good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Mayor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. What do you think about what happened at the school last week?
Okay, let's put it into two areas.
Okay.
Number one, did Joe Clark do good for Eastside High School when he started the same day? We both started July 1st, 1982. Him as principal of Eastside High School, myself as the mayor, July 1st, 82. He took a school that was bankrupt in feeling in this community, and he moved it into an area that he cleaned it, made it presentable, and brought discipline to the school.
All right, Mayor, I don't mean to cut you. That's ancient history, okay? We're talking about what happened last week.
It's not ancient history because it's something we live with today.
Okay,
if we're
but what do
going
you
to
think
condemn
about
Joe
the
Clark, we also have a right to say the good things he did. Last week was wrong. Let me say this unequivocally. If I had known they were going to have this type of a show in Eastside High School, and you keep saying 17 and 18-year-old females, no, that's not the age of those young ladies in that audience. Their ages were 13, 14, 15, and 16. That's what the age of the high school young ladies were.
So if you were in the school,
should
you'd
have
have
never
stopped it, huh?
taken place in Eastside High School without parental consent. It was wrong. It should never be done. If it's ever done again, they will receive citations from this office to go to court.
Stay on the line, Mayor, okay? Yes.
I think they definitely have talent, but it doesn't belong in school. I'd be very angry if my children saw it.
Right.
And on MTV, you can choose to watch MTV, but to throw it in the school, you definitely have talent, but it doesn't belong in the school.
Yes.
That's the way I feel, too, because I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I don't want her to see this in school. She go to school to get an education, and this wasn't the appropriate time to have this in school.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have 3 daughters, and I certainly would not want them to see it either, and one is 14.
Okay, Eric, you take off while I'm over here.
Mr. Mayor, please stop campaigning. We rode through the city of Patterson in a long motor coach of 16 limousines, clean up the crack corners in the city, close down the pornographic movie houses in that city, and leave the arts and us entertainers alone. There were 20 entertainers on that show. 19 of them are fully clothed and dressed. It was a show of inspiration. They all had positive messages of staying in school, and all the entertainers were under 25. We were just showing them that young people of the same rounds from humble beginnings, them on public assistance at one time, have made it through the forces of dedication, discipline, determination, and devotion. Please. It was just one little act. They posed. There were no sexual innuendos. It did not make anyone go out and make a baby. And there were only seniors and juniors there. That's all. There were no freshmen or sophomores there.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, she must think that people are dead on arrival. There were freshmen there. There were sophomores there.
Hey,
and you did not see porno movies in Patterson because there are no porno movies in Patterson.
Seniors and juniors.
You can't make
I don't
and get an
control who
impression
we
of
let
the
in the
city by a
auditorium,
5-minute
sir.
ride that you're paid to take through this city. This city has fought its way back out. This is an American city made up of Hispanics, of blacks, of whites. We've learned to get along with each other. People like you will ruin this city.
Okay.
I think the mayor's getting a little carried away. They're not going to ruin the city. It's obviously art, but it has no place in the school. Rather, if the kids are 17, 18, 15 to 16, it just doesn't belong in the schools.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Mayor and Eric, maybe you can help me out here, and Vera, did the taxpayers actually pay for this performance?
No. Wanda and I put up $4,200 of our own money to bring this show there. A show this magnitude, you have to feed all the performers in the morning, feed them lunch, rent the limousines, rent a sound system, the whole bit. It cost us money to bring that show there, and none of the press has brought that out. This is a labor of love for us. We do this once a year because it's such an expensive show, but we do it. No one else tries to bring any kind of entertainment or hopes. I can't say no one, but we try. We're not like Michael Jackson, who let Pepsi throw out a couple of free tickets to some handicapped children. We go right into the schools with a show. If Joe Clark didn't want the show that way, all he had to do was tell me. I would have kept the dancers' pants on. He did not tell me. He said it's 1989, not 1929.
Okay, Eric, here we go. Up here, yes.
I thought it was wrong because, I mean, the dancers are great. I've seen Chippendales, and I loved it, but I didn't see it when I was 16, and when I was in junior high, and I was a junior, I was 16, and my best friend was 15, so to say there were juniors at 17 is not true, because most of my friends were 16, and it's wrong. I mean, I didn't go to school to see that, and I mean, I loved it. You guys are great, but that wasn't the place for it.
Okay. You know, Eric, I think the show that came to Eastside High School and the message of the show is terrific. I really do. I think you're doing great things for the community. Isn't it possible that right now you could say, you know what, I made a little mistake of judgment. I made a little mistake, and given a second chance, I wouldn't have put it on the same way with that one act. Nothing against Wanda.
That's what I was saying. Even if it was okayed by the school principal, I feel as though as a young man who wants to put across a positive image in a community, Eric and Wanda should have thought themselves, would I want my child to see this in high school? That should have been their question to themselves. Sometimes we do things, but we have to question the morality behind it. Would I want put myself in that position? Would I want my child there? I'm a foster mother of 13 children. No. If I thought that one of my girls would go to a show like that at that age, I would, I couldn't even begin to tell you what I would do to them. You know, it's the wrong place for it.
Yes, sir.
Why the schools? I mean, we have everything else coming into the schools, and now, why this? We have drugs, we have liquor, we have guns going in the schools. Why this?
That's the very reason why we go to the schools, because all those other things are infiltrating the schools, those negative things. When, I don't know, I mean, everyone here has one thing in common. Everyone. We were all young at one point. And when someone who is famous, people have watched me on other television shows, such as Fame and others, and have seen Wanda in the movie Beat Street. When an entertainer you know, or idolize, or just like, or look up to, comes to your school and says hi and makes personal class visits, we did all those things at Eastside. It means a lot to a student. It's a showcase of inspiration and education and motivation and fascination.
All right, listen, let me do this right now. Mayor Frank Graves of Patterson, thank you for joining us on People Are Talking. We're not putting down the city of Patterson. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Bye.
yes.
Well, I think if you enjoy doing the show without getting paid, and the high school students enjoyed seeing you and the men, all power to you. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I think young people don't think like us, and they probably thought they were doing something good. I think they have to be commended for trying to help the city of Patterson. However, I think they should also say they are sorry and go on with the job.
Okay.
Where was the education here? That's what I would like to know. It was during school hours, I understand. Where was the education? What benefit came out of this program?
Well, all right, let's remember one thing. This was one act in a much larger show, and Eric has already told us that the overall message of this show was to stay in school, stay off drugs, and the like, right? So that is educational. Also, Vera, can't we say one thing? You know what? The kids who are 15 and 16 today are a lot more advanced than we were, even me.
Yes. Very much.
When I was 15 and 16.
Because of society.
Because of society.
Because of society. He's absolutely right.
Okay.
We tolerate any and everything, and we do not speak on it, we do not deal with it until it hits our front doorstep.
Let's take a phone call. Good morning, you're on People Are Talking.
Good morning from Maine.
Hi, from Maine. What's your opinion on this?
I think there is nothing wrong with what she's doing, and if people just let these 16 and 17-year-old girls or boys be free to express the way that they feel, then they'll be more open to come to any adult and ask for help or explain things about sex. There was nothing wrong with what she's doing.
Okay, thank you for your call. All right, let me do this. Let me give you the results of our People poll, okay? For the last 10 or 15 minutes, we've been taking phone calls from around the country. Out of 800 calls, these are the results. Yes, it is inappropriate. 43% agreed with that. No, it is not inappropriate. 57% said no, it is not inappropriate. Again, the question is a show with partial nudity appropriate to present to high school students. Those are the results of the People poll as you voted at home. Eric, Wanda, thank you very much.
That's
Vera.
why we're going straight down.
You say what?
That's why the society is going straight down.
Excuse me.
There's no morals,
Wanda, I
no
got
more.
10 seconds. Go ahead.
I want to give
10 seconds.
I have something to give to you, Matt.
You do? Well, you're
Yes, I
wired.
do.
Don't move. I'll come to you.
Okay. Thank you.
It's an autographed picture of Wanda, okay? One thing about Eastside High, they keep things cooking. We are going to take a break, folks. When we come back, the war of the sexes in the 1980s. What's the matter with women and men? Stay with us.
Let me introduce some guests that we have on stage. You probably all know Eric Floyd, who happens to be mad as hell, but who also starred in Fame for a number of years. And we have with us Wanda Dee, who is probably the queen of rap in this country. Eric, let me start with you. We've all heard about the baseball bat and bullhorn of Eastside High's principal, Joe Clark, which there's a movie out on his life now. Now you say there's a move about to fire the principal, and you claim it's brought about by racism. Tell me.
I never claimed that it was brought about by racism.
What do you think it's brought about by?
It was brought about by, this is what happened. We had a show that we brought, to Eastside High School. It was called Eric Floyd's ALLSTAR Cavalcade Express. I do this once a year for high schools. It's my way of giving back. We always talk about young people never give back. I'm 22 years old, and I'm quite wealthy, thanks to this country, okay? I worked very, very well in this country a long time. That's all right. My fiance and I took $4,200 of our own money this year to gather up the stars of a major motion picture that's about to be released called Eastside Story, featuring a lot of different artists. We brought it to the school for free. I put the bill for things like the sound system, transportation, what have you.
Go.
We put on a show of inspiration, motivation, education, fascination, and information for the kids. All right, we get there. We plan to show at Joe Clark, and Joe Clark isn't there. He's 3,000 miles across the country taping the Arsenio Hall show, a black man show. Who cares, okay? Here we are now. The school is now under the jurisdiction of Julian Jenkins, the assistant vice principal.
Isn't that a woman?
Well, Julian, it all depends. Only his hairdresser knows for sure. Moving right along, though, we got on into it, and all of a sudden...
Say that, Julian.
we
Yo,
were...
look at this. Look at
Hey.
Eat your hat out, March.
Nobody has a fit about Tarzan with hair down to his ankle, okay? Now, Julian Jenkins, we got into the fifth act. The fifth act was my fiancée, Wanda Dee, who was in Harry Belafonte's movie Beat Street. She was doing her new song from her new album called The Goddess. They call her the Goddess of Rap. She comes out on stage with 4 male dancers who are bodybuilders, and they're wearing no shirts and black skin-tight spandex pants that are held together on the side by Velcro and fringe. During one portion of the song into the second chorus, she simply goes back with a cordless mic, as you saw on the video, and she grabs their pants individually and begins pulling them off one by one to reveal that the bodybuilders are wearing simple bodybuilding posing trunks. They begin to pose as she continues the rest of the song. Julian Jenkins, somehow, because God only knows, he got up, close the curtain. Close the curtain. Something you never do to an entertainer in the middle of their show. Denied the rest of the students a chance to see the rest of the show, who were on top of the chairs screaming, "We want Wanda, we want Wanda." He said the show was over, they had to leave. I had members of the group Full Force backstage. I had members of the motion picture Eastside Story backstage, who all got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to come out to my house at 7 in Harlem and get out there at Eastside High School in Patterson, New Jersey by 9 o'clock in the morning to put on a concert for free. No one was getting paid.
Okay.
And all of a good sudden, he stops the bottom line. The bottom line is, it had nothing to do with racism. Julian Jenkins is a black man. He belongs to a class or a society of people that my fiance and I don't belong to. Ignorance. He shut down the show because he felt it was too racy, too sexually explicit for the upperclassmen only. Juniors and seniors were watching this show at a high school. All the guys were doing were posing. I mean, what's racy? You watch championship wrestling, and you've got 200, 300-pound men who are sweating in their drawers, as far as I'm concerned, jumping on top of each other, and all kinds of contortions and movements. That's racy. This is art.
Wanda.
It's art. That's all it is.
Wanda, you performed in that, and we've already seen the clip, all right? But do you feel discriminated against because that happened?
Yes, I do.
Discriminated against as a human being, as an entertainer, as a white person, black person, what?
As an entertainer, because I was only out there to spread love and joy and make people smile and have a good time.
Well, yeah, but we found, you know, I don't mean to turn your words around on you, but we found that by spreading too much love and joy, this disease goes along with it nowadays, you know.
Well, not that kind of love and joy, but...
All right, let's go to our audience and see what those folks have to say.
Mort, you want to know what causes racism?
Yeah.
When you take individualism too far. This is individualism, but when you let individualism segregate yourself to the point where you don't want to assimilate to each other, that causes racism. I go to a university where most of the minorities are put onto one campus. Why, I don't know, because when I filled out the application to go there, why do I have to have a box that says, am I white, black, or other? Does it matter? Look at my qualifications.
You know what? I agree with you. I agree with you, but I think something else that causes racism is ignorance. Because if we were intelligent enough to know why you cut your hair above so you don't have sideburns, why I let mine go down here, why the company made me take my earring out of my left ear, right? Because you're supposed to be a grown man, you don't wear an earring in your left ear. You know, zap it, man. We'll be back with the audience. Let them talk. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let Reverend Al. You have some things. You've been unbelievably silent tonight, and that makes me very nervous. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the reason I've been silent is because I think if there is a hope of solving racism, it will be with the younger generation that is now in school. I think if all of these young people start talking it among themselves, not the people that have already taken their positions like me or you, Mort, but them. If they talk among themselves, maybe they can solve the problem and maybe they can deal with it because they're admitting there's a problem. They're at least more mature than we are, so let them solve it. I'll shut up, let them solve it.
All right? I say let them solve it too. I'll tell you let them solve it. You know why? because all of the great committees and commissions of the Republicans and the Democrats, the conservatives, the liberals, working on it for 40 years. Nothing has been accomplished other than the cosmetic look of now there are equal rights, civil rights. Those are all names, gang. They're all of the labels that we put on everything. Everyone in here knows in reality, you don't give a damn if a guy is black or white if you like him. If you don't like him and he's black, then he becomes a nigger, all right? Think about that. He's a black man, he's a human. You're a white man, you're not a honky. And we're not gonna take any crap from anyone because we're all gonna kick ass. Come on.
Get ready to stay up late for the hottest talk show on TV, the Arsenio Hall Show. Tonight, Buffalo Bob Smith of the classic TV series The Howdy Doody Show joins Arsenio along with Tracy Gold from the comedy hit Growing Pains. The Arsenio Hall Show next.
Joe Clark, household name, cover of Time magazine, feature film, famous, and now furious about being dropped out of his own school because of a clash with the school board. It seems that Joe is taking the fall for a dance troupe which raised the temperature and blood pressure of the board members.
Come here, Annabelle. Come on, son, give me 5. That's it. Joe Clark is certainly not Mother Teresa.
No, he's not. But then again, if he was, he probably would not be the subject of this new hit film, Lean on Me.
I want all of you to look at this slovenly, sloppy boy here as an example of how not to dress.
Joe Clark is the bullhorn and baseball bat-toting principal of Patterson, New Jersey's Eastside High School. Clark made a national name for himself by his unorthodox methods for turning that school around. Now, Clark is in hot water with his Board of Education because while on a publicity tour for the movie, he approved of the performance of a dance troupe to perform in the school assembly. Men in G-strings in a high school auditorium, the risque nature of the dance raised more than a few eyebrows. Clark stood up and took the responsibility and a 5-day suspension from his duties. Once again, he is embroiled in controversy. The dancers say it's art. The school board says it's smut. And the kids, well, they're leaning on Joe Clark.
I think I've seen worse, and it was a good show. And I don't think he had any reason to close the curtains on it. It's not something that most of us haven't already seen.
Now, we thought, with all the heat about this latest Joe Clark controversy, maybe we should try to find out what other people thought about the dance performance. So we took dancer Wanda Dee and her male partners to Grand Central Station in New York City and asked whether this dance was so bad that Joe Clark deserved the boot.
Wanda Dee, the goddess is here, so stand, don't you dare touch the rear. You hear? It's my tail, it's not for sale. You touch it, baby, you go to jail. Fail, you fail to produce because you got seduced by the sensational, sexy curve. Word, I rock your nerves, or haven't you heard? I'm coming through your speakers, blowing. Just my voice, get your adrenaline flowing. Unmistakable, capable, and durable. Just like a disease, I'm incurable. Like a tickable shark, I'm sharp and it's up.
He was just giving the kids the opportunity to see people expand life itself. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Treat it like a loved one. You're down and out and down. Don't be modest. Don't fear. I'm here. Come to the God. Give it to me. Just like that. Don't stop. Please don't stop.
I don't think it's right for children to see, really.
This beat's jumping. I'm not slumping. Open your ears and let me tell you something.
came to my school, hey, I think it gave my school a great boost.
It's not right. I believe it's not right. Kids are kids. Adults are adults. So for adults, okay. Kids, they will get their chance.
All right, that's the performance, and that's some of the public reaction. Now, what do you think? Well, we want to know your feelings, so here are the numbers to call to register your vote. If you feel Joe Clark should have been suspended for this dance controversy, call this number, 1-900-720-6101. 1-900-720-6101. If you think he didn't deserve to be suspended, then call this number and voice your no, 1-900-720-6102. 1-900-720-6102. Remember, each call costs 50 cents, and we'll bring you the results of that poll tomorrow night. We'll be right back after this.